Assalamu alaikum. This is Abdul Rehman. I lead the research function here at Foundation Securities. Today we are here to talk about market outlook, market performance so far, and a few macroeconomic variables. Starting off with recent market performance, अगर आप देखें तो recent past के अंदर market has crossed 86,000 level, and that has a lot to do with how the economy has performed with regards to inflation, with regards to a stable currency, with regards to decline in interest rates. तो ये कुछ फैक्टर्स थे जिन्होंने मार्केट की परफॉर्मेंस को बूस्ट किया है. एट द सेम टाइम आप अगर ऑब्ज़र्व करें तो थोड़ा सा एक खदशा था विद रिगार्ड्स टू फुटसी रीबैलेंसिंग, जिसमें हमें डाउनग्रेड किया जा रहा था टू फ्रंटियर मार्केट्स, और उसकी वजह से देयर वाज अ साइजेबल आउटफ्लो दैट वाज टू टेक प्लेस, बट लकीली दैट हैज़ नॉट रियली प्लेड डाउन ऑन द इंडेक्स लेवल. इन फैक्ट जो सेलिंग अब तक हमने देखी है फ्रॉम द फॉरेन साइड, दैट हैज़ टू लार्ज एक्सटेंट बीन अब्जॉर्ब्ड, एंड कुछ डेवलपमेंट्स की वजह से स्पेसिफिकली इन द पावर सेक्टर कुछ हमने प्राइसेस डाउनटर्न देखा है. बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, अगर आप ओवरऑल इंडेक्स की बात करें तो दैट हैज़ बीन कंटेन्ड बट इन फैक्ट completely accounted for by local participants. So that has definitely been a positive development. With regards to economy, अगर आप देखें तो inflation has gone down below the 7% mark, and that has been a very welcome development, specifically given the fact that over the past 24 months this was becoming increasingly a challenge, specifically with regards to food inflation. So this is a very welcome development, and in line with that हमने policy rate के अंदर देखा जो 22% का हमने top hit किया था. Ever since over the past few months we have seen that come down to 17.5, and we expect the same trajectory to continue at least in the upcoming monetary policies, जहाँ पे हम expect कर रहे हैं कि up to 3% का further cut का हमारे पास room है by the end of the calendar year. So I think that is another positive development that will be shared by the market. ये चीज़ already reflect हो रही है to a certain extent in Kaibor, which has gone down below 15%. So I think the market is already anticipating a cut in the upcoming policy meeting. But at the same time, I think apart from the fact कि हमारे positive real rates का एक significant room बन गया about 10%, but जो ongoing tensions हैं in the Middle East, specifically with regards to oil prices, I think that is something that should not be discounted at any cost. और ये एक growing development है जिसकी वजह से जो overall global international oil prices हैं that can surge further. We have seen in the past, ever since the start of October, we have seen them climb about 10%, and अगर इस हवाले से further escalation होती है, so I think these pose a potent threat. तो इस चीज़ को we would suggest कि किसी सूरत में डिस्काउंट नहीं करना चाहिए. But apart from that, अगर आप हमारे numbers देखें overall, specifically current accounts that have been very encouraging. Obviously that has a large role to be played by the slowdown in imports, but largely we are in balance, and that has in a certain context to do with remittances that have been very encouraging so far this year, close to 9 billion collection in the first 3 months, and I think that that run rate is expected to continue moving forward. So I don't really think current account से कोई बहुत बड़ा risk है, but जो ongoing situation है in the Middle East, this is something that we should definitely be looking at and following very closely, because this could definitely impact the local prices in our market, and obviously फिर जो spiraling effect होता है because of petroleum prices. So I think that is one thing that should not be discounted. With regards to exchange rates, I think over the past आप ever since the start of the calendar year, बल्कि इसको इस तरीके से पुट कर सकते हैं, they have been very stable around the 275-280 mark. So in the near term कोई ऐसा risk हमें नज़र नहीं आता until and unless the global commodity prices led by oil specifically, if those start to slip तो फिर शायद थोड़ा सा हमें नज़र आए चीज़ें. But in the recent past, post the IMF program that we have gone into, the reserve buildup has been very good. And going forward, जिस तरीके से बातें हो रही हैं with project based financing coming in from the likes of ADB, from the likes of World Bank, I think in the near term it will be stable. कोई ऐसा risk potent risk तो नहीं नज़र आता. But like I mentioned earlier, global oil prices is a brewing story, और इनको ऑब्जर्व करना क्लोजली जो है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होगा. विद रिगार्ड्स टू द मार्केट परफॉर्मेंस ओवरऑल, recent run up has been very encouraging, specifically led by local participants. जैसे मैंने पहले भी जिक्र किया था that FTSE rebalancing की वजह से the people were on the back foot कि ये किस तरीके से selling pressures absorb होंगे, specifically given the fact that all the companies, all the 14 companies that were being touted, वो more or less सारे ही large cap stocks थे जिनके अच्छे weights थे in the overall KC 100. But so far the participation from the local end has been very encouraging, and I don't really think कि वहाँ से कुछ खासा pressure आगे जाते हुए भी हमें नज़र आएगा. The encouraging thing about the market performance thus far has been कि heavyweights जो हमारे हैं which have been laggards for the past few years, that have actually picked up pace, specifically with regards to the banking sector, ENPs, fertilizer के अंदर हमने बहुत अच्छे run up देखा है. So this is positive development in terms of अगर आप index level को देखें, उसकी sustainability के हवाले से देखें, तो when heavyweights are actually leading the show, तो फिर index की जो sustainability है वो I think कुछ हद तक इंश्योर हो जाती है. और we have seen that happen in the recent past. Going forward, I think the momentum is set to continue, primarily led by the fact that interest rate cuts further हमारे पास room है. Like I said earlier, 300 basis points we expect by the end of the calendar year. I think that should keep investors engaged. Plus, at the same time, the flow of money from fixed income to equity markets, that has been rather tepid up till now. But I think that would definitely pose an upside risk to market movement going forward. Because हमने अभी भी उस pace से I think switching नहीं देखी है from fixed income to equities. So I think it will be as we go up the ladder in terms of interest rate cuts. I think this is one thing जो कि हम आगे जाते हुए further observe करते हैं, that would only increase the participation in the equity market. In terms of अगर आप हमारे multiples wise देखें, तो we still stand that despite the run up in the market this calendar year, 12-month trailing पे we stand at around 5.2 times का PE, and on a forward looking basis it stands at around 3.7. So despite the fact that the market has performed, the multiples are still on the lower side. And when you talk about the historic performance of the PSX, we have traded around the region of 6.5, 7. So keeping that in mind, I think there is another room for 20-25% in terms of index performance, given the fact that our earnings growth, that our payouts are still very strong, and we believe at large valuations are still to be unlocked. This is a brief overview of the market and the macroeconomic fundamentals. If you have any queries, we are more than available to answer. You can always reach us at research@fs.com.pk, and we're more than willing to entertain any queries that you might have, and hopefully look forward to staying in touch, inshallah.